Hello, and welcome back to another one of our overanalyzations. This time it's The Rise of Skywalker. And once again, we have our trusty notes that we've been writing furiously during the film.
Yeah. We've seen the movie twice now.
Yes, unfortunately, we've given Disney Star Wars a double bloody dosage of our money. But, and it was very difficult, might I say, to write notes in the pitch black of the cinema, but I've done my duty and I did them, and they're done and they're ready to go. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. Who goes first? You go first. I'll go first.
Come on, Poe. Go for it.
Oh, don't ever call me that. All right. Well, to start off with, something.
Hang on. First of all, this will be a spoiler review, so
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to talk for as many pages of notes I've written without spoiling anything. So, yeah, spoiler alert. All right. So to start off with, you pointed out that there was only 4 or 5 women in the entire cinema, right?
yes.
And it just made me realize that all of this pandering, all this Rey goddess, Mary Sue bullshit, pandering, virtue signaling to get women into the seats, and they couldn't even get half a dozen women into this cinema. So it was all this pandering and virtue signaling was for nothing.
That's right. I don't actually know a single female that likes Star Wars. I know a couple of my friends are going to the cinema just to, go for a date night with their boyfriend. But I mean, this isn't a movie that most women won't go out and watch.
Yeah, and
on their own.
There are plenty of female fans of Star Wars, but they're not the majority. Yeah. The majority are still vastly men. And to have been told that this pandering was necessary to bring women into the fold, and I guess it's been, a big fail? Because, there's a lot of women who are fans, but has it really shifted the demographics of the fandom much? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it has.
But the fans were there before all of these extra women were just thrown in. So, anyway, if it's not broken...
Yeah, I know. What's wrong with having a male protagonist when, 60, 70, 80, 90% of your fans are males?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess it's 2019, y'all. So, it was visually striking. I'd said that in my earlier reviews, but I have to reiterate it. It was. For the most part, the special effects were pretty damn good, but I've written here that it would have been nice to have this level of technological special effects in the other 2 trilogies. Like, imagine having the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy with these kind of special effects. With the storylines and the characters and the better writing that you had in, especially the original trilogy, and the amazing story you had in the prequels just wasn't executed that great.
Yeah.
But imagine having this kind of special effects back then. Man, it would have... I mean, the original trilogy is already fantastic, but it would have elevated it even higher. Yeah.
I wonder if they would ever go back and kind of edit in some new effects to the original story, because I don't think people will want new Star Wars stories.
No.
But would they touch the old...
Well, they've already been touched into almost oblivion by George Lucas, because he kept touching them with that dodgy CGI from about 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's when he was touching them up, and it looks so bad because you got real world effects, practical effects mixed with really shitty CGI from 20 years ago, and it's such a huge contrast. It looks so phony. I don't think anyone wants the old movies touched up, unless, I don't know, they can guarantee that's going to be done so seamlessly. I mean, they probably could nowadays with the modern effects, but I think they should just leave the original trilogy alone. I don't trust whose hands it will end up being entrusted to touch them up. Yeah. Not nowadays in Hollywood, anyway.
Okay.
So the main biggest problem and gripe with this movie is Palpatine. And I've shown you the fact that Palpatine is alive and returns is the worst retcon of all time. in movie history that I can even think of.
Yeah.
Because it completely invalidates the entire first 6 movies. Completely. As though they never meant anything. They didn't happen. They now have no weight. They have no purpose, no point at all. Anakin's story arc is for nothing. What of the prophecy that of the one who will bring balance to the Force? What did that mean if his whole redemptive arc and achievement was to kill his puppet master, but his puppet master was never dead because he just survived? So that was all for nothing. And then Luke's story arc's for nothing. And it's just...
And Rey doesn't even have a story arc.
No, she doesn't. She was just brilliant from the start to the end.
Yeah.
And it's just... It's a heinous retcon to bring Palpatine back. But they've done it as, I don't know, to try and get seats in the theater out of shock value. I don't know. A huge misjudge and a huge miscalculation that was. But I didn't expect much different in terms of judgment from Lucasfilm and Disney Star Wars. So I'm not surprised that they did it, but it was terrible.
They really didn't need to do it. I mean, they had Kylo, and I think Kylo could have been an epic villain.
Mm-hmm.
He had so much potential. He was so strong and conflicted, and I really found him interesting. And he could have been incredible had they written him correctly. And The Last Jedi kind of just wasted his character. So then I felt like The Rise of Skywalker, everything was just rushed with his character. So we had to have his pretty much entire arc in just one movie.
Yeah.
And it's such a missed opportunity.
We
didn't need Palpatine. He could have been the one. Snoke could have been the one.
Adam Driver's a good actor. A waste of his talent.
Yeah.
Waste of... He had a good look about him too in the movie.
Yeah, he looked a lot better this time around.
In this one.
As well.
He did. But a waste of his story arc, a waste of his talent as an actor. And they rushed his entire arc, in this last movie. In like a 5-minute period.
So in the opening crawl, they had the words Supreme Leader Kylo Ren.
Oh yeah, because he's taken over from Snoke.
Yes.
Worst name of all time, Snoke as well. Sorry, I never mentioned that in the last one. Snoke. What the fuck is that man as a name? Snoke. Ugh.
Well, I feel like even though I wanted Kylo to become the Supreme Leader, I didn't feel like he had earned it just yet. So I would have loved to have seen him do some incredibly bad shit.
Well, wasn't he carving up that whole forest of people at the beginning in slow-mo?
Yeah, but he was already the Supreme Leader.
See, that's part of... Yeah, that's true. See, that was part of the visually striking element of this movie that is wasted on a shit story and shit characters. Yeah. That imagery is fantastic, but it should have been in a better movie, in a better series. Yeah. I've got here the fact that this Palpatine was all the villains' voices in Kylo's head.
Yeah.
That's just so dumb. So he was the voice of Snoke in Kylo's head, but Snoke wasn't just in his head. He was a real physical character. Yeah. So was Palpatine controlling him? Was he a puppet? Was he like a meat puppet that Palpatine was possessing the body of? That's never explained. He just says, "I was all the voices in your head." But okay, Vader maybe, because Vader was in his head. Vader's dead, right? Mm-hmm. But Snoke was a living person. So who the fuck was Snoke, man?
Was Snoke created
apart from some dipshit with a dumb name? Who was he? Was
he created by
some golden robed asshole? Huh? What? Was he created by Palpatine?
Yes.
I don't know. It's not explained. All he said is, "I'm all the voices in your head." That's what he didn't say. "I'm all the people in your life." He didn't say, "I was all your masters." He said, "I was all the voices in your head." Hey, let me know in the comments, folks, unless I missed something. It didn't make sense to me, so I don't understand. Unless if they're implying that Palpatine was controlling Snoke. Snoke was just an avatar or a puppet, a vessel for Palpatine's evil spirit to inhabit, then okay, fine. But they didn't explain that in the movie. Not adequately for me. All right? Yeah.
Sorry, just before you move on to your next point. That quote, "I've been every voice inside your head."
Yes.
I just find it so fitting because sometimes all it takes is one person to just say one thing and it will get inside your head and it can completely change you.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and
true.
it also just reminded me, like, all I could think of was mental illness. And how, I mean, look at the damage that hearing voices in someone's head can do.
Well, does this also imply, he says, I was all the voices in your head, or I am all the voices in your head. I think he said I was, right? At the time that Kylo had his little vision conversation with his dad, his deceased father, which was all in his head, Palpatine was still alive. So how do we know that's not Palpatine as well?
Oh.
But that wouldn't make sense then, would it? Because why would Palpatine get him to turn to the light? Yeah.
And how come Palpatine
So it doesn't make sense. But none of this movie makes sense. So maybe that was fucking Palpatine, you know, disguised as you know, old man Solo. I don't know. Nothing makes sense in this world. It's all upside down.
Yeah, the more we think about it, the more we're like...
Here's my conspiracy theory. Palpatine convinced him to turn to the light so that he'd sacrifice himself and die, and then Rey would be alone. But she defeats him. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I'm trying to write this on the fly, like they probably did with this entire trilogy. Just in a room, fucking writing on the fly. All right. I've got here just a very important point because we're talking about important themes of this movie and stuff like that.
Oh, God. Yeah.
All right. Palpatine looks like a fat, pale clown with bad makeup. All right. Just in this. No offense meant to Ian McDiarmid, who plays him, because he's a great actor. He's still got the great voice and all that, and he still comes across as sinister. But the way they just made his face look in his little robe, his little hood at the start there, yeah, he just looked like a fucking clown, and a fat one as well. Yeah, sorry.
He just looked like
a
wrinkly, old, swollen man who was wearing clothes that were way too big for him.
Yeah.
Like, you know how when little kids put on their parents' clothing, like, you know, if your child puts on your jacket or something, and they put the hood on, and then they come out and they just look like a little, like a clown. Not like a clown, but they look ridiculous in their oversized clothing. That's what Palpatine was like for me.
He looked, to me, he just looked like an off-duty clown who was just chilling in a hood and talking shit. I don't know, it was weird. It looked fucking weird. He only looked good at the end when he was in his final true form. That's the only time he looked actually sinister and evil, because apart from then, he just looked like a fuckwit. Sorry for the language, folks.
Yeah. It was a very scary
Got anything else to say about Palpatine at the beginning there?
No.
All right, well, I'm going to move on to one of the few positive things in this movie. I thought that opening sequence with the Millennium Falcon was great. It was well paced. It looked visually stunning. You know, they tried to have the banter be interesting between the crew members, Poe and Finn, and that giant dick alien that was in the Falcon. Someone pointed out on Twitter that creature. Remember, there's a part where Poe's going through the ship, and he walks past that creature. He's like, "Oh, did you fix the something?" Blah blah blah. Yeah. And someone pointed out the creature has no arms or legs. So how the fuck's he fixing anything?
You know what's funny? That was the first thing that I thought when hilarious. I saw it as well.
It didn't click to me. Maybe he pokes it with his head or tentacle things or something. I don't know. But anyway, I enjoyed that sequence. That flight. Yeah, that was cool. But also just before that, the floating iceberg station. Remember, it was like a giant iceberg floating through space, or an ice ball, and they built a whole space station in there, and they were flying through the tunnels and shit. That was cool. To
get to the information about the spy.
Yeah. I didn't give a shit what they were fucking there for, because I was not invested in the story at all. But just like visually and entertainment-wise, that sequence was cool.
Yeah.
I could see it as like a cutscene in a video game. so much of this movie felt like just cutscenes from video games. But yeah, that sequence, I'm not going to shit on that sequence too much because, like I said, I wasn't invested in the story or the characters really, but that sequence was entertaining and looked good. So I'll give it that.
Yeah, my note is light speed skipping.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Yep, that was great.
Although it frustrated me every time that they did a skip and didn't crash into something.
Yeah.
Even though that annoyed me, it was still an entertaining.
Yeah, it made no sense that they survived that they would even try it, because it would be like instant suicide. But we got to see some interesting locations. I think the first one they skipped to was like some weird planet with weird rock structures, but it looked quite striking and interesting. Yeah. And the second one was a city. It looked like a floating city like Bespin, but way more dense, so that they'd have stuff to dodge. It was funny. They kept warping to places that were really dangerous.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just warp to one open space? And then the third one was a giant worm creature that came out. I guess that was an homage to Empire Strikes Back, a far superior movie. But yeah, interesting visually. So that's all I'll say. And the concept can be fleshed out interestingly in a better sci-fi movie of light speed jumping. But in this movie, yeah, it didn't make sense. The way it was portrayed, that they would even try it danger-wise. All right, then we cut to some jungle planet. Not explain what planet it is, unless they did, and I just didn't hear it. And Rey is floating with the rocks. She's doing her floating rock scene. I've just written that was lame-o, completely lame-o.
That was when she was trying to... She just kept saying, "Oh, be with me," or something like that. She was trying to draw in the... what was it?
Energy. What was she saying? She kept saying something over and over again.
It was like,
talk to me, or help me, be with me, be with me.
Yeah, it was meant to be the thousand Jedis before her.
Oh, right.
She was trying to connect to them.
For a second there, when you said she was saying "be with me," I was thinking, well, she's trying to draw in the audience. Be with me, and I wholeheartly reject her offer. Yeah. I don't want to be with her because I find Rey to be cringe. I've written that here as well, and the fact that Leia is her Jedi Master. What the hell? Leia, it's stupid, and it was never shown. It was never shown that Leia had progressed to become a Jedi Master. Well, just because she flew in through space with her Jedi powers, that means she's a Jedi Master. But remember, they also retconned that scene where her and Luke are training. Remember, a young Luke's training, that CGI scene, which again just looked like a fancy cutscene from a video game, or like one of those fan trailers that people make.
Yeah,
that's what half this movie felt like. A fan fiction trailer, or a cutscene from a video game, or a cosplay. It just felt like people just cosplaying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought, Leia as her Jedi Master was silly and stupid, but I feel like they were doing that as a look. Yes, Queen, girl power, Master and Apprentice are both women. That's what I think they were saying.
Or maybe she was the only person that she knew that had experience with the Force. Because everybody else was gone.
I guess so, but Luke didn't have to be gone, but I guess they made him gone, didn't they? In The Last Jedi. Okay. When they was... I was just going to say, when they were standing around, all the characters, and they were plot dropping, they were like doing, exposition to get us up to speed, and they were talking about how Palpatine was returning. Yeah. And I've written here that even the characters in the movie think Palpatine's return is fucking ridiculous. They seemed unconvinced of it making any sense in their own universe.
Yeah. Right, I did like that little scene though.
You did?
I liked that they were all kind of chipping in.
And you liked that Rose Tico was there as well? For why? I don't know. But yeah.
Totally love Rose
The return of Rose with a new hairstyle. Alright, so what you got next, darling?
Okay, so just going back a bit because you've skipped ahead.
Sorry, got a bit excited there to start shitting on it. Yeah.
Did you like the space ships? The fleet?
Where, at the end?
No, when
at the end?
They were first revealed in the beginning. and then we saw them at the end.
Oh, the fleet,
When they
the
first
final
got
order,
raised up.
that giant
Final
fleet.
order, yes.
Yeah. I've got some notes on that later on, I think.
Oh,
but yeah,
okay.
no.
I just thought they looked really cool.
Yeah, I think it did look good, and
Came through.
I think that I found that threat, because that was the main threat to the galaxy in this final fleet that Palpatine had secretly been building for this entire, for like 30 years or some shit. And I found that to be a more original and interesting idea as the threat to the galaxy, rather than just another larger Death Star. Because they seem to just be making bigger Death Stars in this one.
Oh, I'm so glad there wasn't another Death Star.
So instead of that, they've gone with a killer fleet, and each one has the power of a Death Star. And that, yes, it's ramped up the threat, and yes, it is over the top and ridiculous, but at least there's something different than just a bigger Death Star. So, slightly original. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. And before you move on, also, it was nice to finally see some other emotions from Rey.
What other emotions? Self-adoration? She showed a lot of that in this. No, I don't know.
So when the scene where Kylo was touching Vader's mask, and then Rey started having flashbacks about her parents, and then all of a sudden you could see her insecurity. It was just nice to see something different, a different look on her face.
Really? I didn't notice any insecurity in this one. She seemed to always be in command. Yeah?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't looking for it, so maybe that's why I didn't see it. I don't know. No, I just even her vulnerable scenes to me just felt like she was like, I don't know how I'm going to handle all this amazing power I have. That's what it just felt like. She was doubting whether she could handle how amazing she is.
Well, I did like one line from her.
And what's that?
She said to Leia, "I will earn your brother's lightsaber one day."
I was like, what? She's respecting something that came before her? This can't be right. It's almost like the writers were writing the script and they sort of slipped then and accidentally wrote a respectful line. Yeah. Because that was very stood out. Yes. It stood out. I've got here, all the characters were sitting around talking about how stupid it is that Palpatine's back. Rose Tico's there for no reason as well. And I got the impression that even R2-D2 didn't want to be in this movie. He just seemed really bored as well. Like, C-3PO went up and said some shit to him and he just sort of sat there. He's like, fuck, are we done? Can we have my coffee break now? Like, he didn't want to be in it either. Okay. He's usually very enthusiastic in Star Wars movies. He didn't do his little scream even once.
Yes, he did.
Did he?
Yes.
When?
When...
Because R2 was hardly in it.
Yeah, at the end when the lightning was hitting everything and Poe lost communication with the other ships, he did his little
Oh, okay. Fuck, I missed that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
That's what I'm here for.
I was too busy enjoying everything else. Yeah. I've written here, so it was nice to see the Knights of Ren for the first time since the first movie of the trilogy when they were mentioned and seen in one flashback sequence. Yeah. So it was nice to see them again, but then again they also did nothing again. They literally did nothing again in this movie. They were just seen for a little bit. They walked around on the desert planet, and then Kylo just later on mince-meated them all at the end in 10 seconds. Yeah. So they literally did nothing the entire trilogy and were promoted as this big threat in The Force Awakens. Or to just turn into nothing.
They were a waste of characters.
All the threats in this sequel trilogy have just been instantly defanged. Yeah. All of them. So none of them had any kind of weight to them at all, or menace. Yep, agreed. Which is ridiculous. You don't do that to your villains or their henchmen. Okay, you got another point?
Well, I'm up to that festival, the little Bollywood festival.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm up to that too.
Oh, good.
Yep. So you want to go first?
Yeah, I've just written down that the festival's only purpose was to lead up to the ending where Rey has a last name. So that entire
you're right.
scene
Oh my god, you're right.
Was just for that one kind of moment.
And to introduce Lando as well.
Yes, but they could have done that anywhere.
Yeah, and look,
really.
it was good to see Lando, and Billy Dee Williams looks surprisingly well for his age, and he's still got that voice and the suave, like the demeanor, and so it was good to see him. But it's pure. I felt that it's just purely an attempt to win back fans, to apologize and to try and sow favor with us again. That's all I saw his appear. Because what other purpose did he have to be in this movie? Anyone could have given him that information. Didn't need to be him. What the fuck's he even doing in that part of the galaxy?
He brought the fleet with.
Yeah,
with
but
him.
Then why hadn't he shown up in the other two movies to help the First Order? Too busy chasing tail that's 60 years younger than him, I guess. No. I'll get to that at the end of my notes.
So I actually did enjoy the reunion between Lando and Chewie.
Yeah, I think they that's one of the very small amount of things they got right.
Yes, agreed. They're finally, it's like they finally listened and said, well, no, they actually should have some sort of feelings towards each other, and it would be nice for them to acknowledge it instead of just being like, oh yeah, hi.
But yeah, when I say got right, I don't mean to praise it too much. Like, it's not like they nailed it and hit it out of the park. They just didn't completely fuck it up like everything else.
Oh,
it was bad. Okay. It could have been a lot better. It could have been much better. As with everything in this movie.
They had to throw a lot of stuff into this movie.
The way this movie was...
two movies into one.
The way this movie is, and the whole saga, the whole sequel trilogy is, there are some aspects that are okay, and the rest is dog shit. There are some things that were just all right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're at this festival, and then Rey... But the only thing I enjoyed about this festival was those cute puppets they used for the little alien babies.
They were cute.
They were cute. I'll give them that.
Why were they in there?
Yeah, why were they... Oh, it's just for the young girls to go, ooh, look, that's cute. I don't know. Why else did they have that in there? That's about it.
No idea.
But so they're at this festival, and she has that vision. She starts doing the Force Skype calling again with Kylo, right? Yeah. And then we're introduced to another aspect of the Force I didn't know existed. Now you can Force grab things that are in different star systems. Like, literally, they're that far apart from each other, and he can grab her necklace from light years away.
Hold on.
Absolutely ridiculous.
If you go back to The Last Jedi, don't you remember when they were
wetness?
Yes.
The wetness that he experienced, the wetness on Mark II.
Yes.
That doesn't make it any less stupid.
I know it doesn't make sense. But
okay,
I mean,
but you're saying it was introduced earlier.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I just forgot. I thought they were introducing it in this one. I forgot it's in The Last Jedi. I wish I forgot more about that movie. But yes, okay, I get you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is stupid, but you're right. It wasn't introduced in this film.
I noticed that all of a sudden he's now called Ren.
Just Ren.
Just Ren.
No one's calling, because Kylo sounds so stupid. Wow. Sounds like Kylie.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Wow.
I didn't notice that they're just calling him Ren. Maybe Ren's supposed to be a title or something. Because it's the Knights of Ren. Does that mean they're the Knights of him, like the Knights that follow him? Or is Ren a place? Or is Ren a title? A thing? Again, never explained. Maybe it's in the books. Maybe it's in the extended history books, which I will never read because I have no interest in the extended backstory of this shit trilogy.
Okay.
All right, so then they start a chase, the speeders chase.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
With the flying...
Yeah, and the scene... Yeah. Oh, yeah, they fly now, they fly now, they fly now. 3 times. Because once wasn't enough for that line. You needed it 3 times.
I thought that scene would be a lot cringier than what it was. I didn't mind that scene.
The way I see that line and that sort of attempt at humour is just they're trying too hard to emulate the natural levity that existed in the original trilogy. There was a natural chemistry, camaraderie, where they would bounce off each other, and there was just natural levity there and humour. that this one really tries way too hard to do. This one got closer to it than the other two did, I would say, with the banter between Finn and Poe and Chewie and C-3PO, right? And some of the new droids. They got closer to it than any of the other, than Force Awakens and Last Jedi, but they still were miles away from any of the humor that worked so well in the original trilogy. And I'm not talking about the prequels. The prequels didn't really have much humor either, and it didn't work well in that trilogy either. But this trilogy tried way too hard, and it just didn't work for me.
Okay.
Humor-wise. All right. There was one or two moments, but yeah. No, but overall, the chase scene was entertaining. Sort of like the Falcon scene at the start. It was entertaining. Most of it was. But I was enjoying it more when I could just pretend that it wasn't a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's not really. This series is not canon. Okay, folks? That's the main theme. The main theme of my review is Disney Star Wars is not canon. No. So I switch off the brain. I enjoy a little hover bike chase scene.
All right.
Yep.
Well, at the end of that scene, where they were in that sort of quicksandy, whatever it is.
Oh yeah, that's my next point, is about the quicksand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we have this moment where everybody thinks that they're dying, and Finn says, "Oh, there's something I have to say." To you.
Oh yeah, what was that?
Well, we never find out, do we?
No, we don't. Do you think he was going to say he loves her?
Yes.
Okay.
I do. Which is why Rose got friend-zoned.
So Finn friend-zoned Rose. Yeah.
Yes.
Did he friend-zone that Afro girl as well, the ex-stormtrooper?
Well, something must have happened there because she's now with Lando.
Oh yeah. Oh man, it's fucking crazy.
Anyway,
you're right, yeah.
So in that scene where they all think that they're dying,
yep.
Who does Rey call out to? Who is Rey upset that sinks as they're sinking?
I didn't notice who.
BB-8.
Oh, I thought you were going to say herself.
She doesn't call...
Me! I'm hurting! Me! The most important person.
She doesn't call out to Poe. She doesn't call out to Finn.
Oh, it's the metal tin can.
Out,
the metal ball.
Yes.
Oh my god.
To the metal ball that...
Well, he might suffocate. He might run out of oxygen.
Oh.
Oh my god.
That moment for me really just...
Yeah.
That was the turning point for me.
Oh, really? Character. And you didn't notice that in the first time you watched it, did you? Because this is our second time watching it. No, I did. Oh, you did?
And it annoyed me, and I was hoping that it wouldn't annoy me the second time. I thought maybe I'd missed something. Mm-hmm. And then I saw it again, and I'm like, yeah, nah. I'm done with this character. I'm done giving her chances.
Did you remember that? Did you remember that moment the first time we reviewed it?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did.
But I don't think I mentioned it.
No. Yeah, I didn't even pick up on that. Wow, you're very perceptive. My wife is much more perceptive than I am, folks, because I miss a lot of minor details like that. But what I did notice in the quicksand scene, or whatever the hell that stuff was, is no one had a clue what the hell that stuff was, right? Yeah. They were like, what is this? Where are we? What's happening? But Rey knew exactly what it was. What? Because she knows everything? Look, maybe they can justify because that sort of quicksandy stuff exists on Jakku as well. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. And what's with another desert planet in a Star Wars movie that's not Tatooine? Just make it Tatooine. If you're going to go to a desert planet, make it Tatooine. Stop making these fake planets that are supposed to be exactly like Tatooine in weather, in temperature, in looks. They look exactly... They're probably filmed in the same fucking place that Tatooine was filmed here on planet Earth.
Yeah.
Just make it Tatooine. Why do you keep Jakku, this planet? Like, what the hell? It's such a bullshit way to just build nostalgia, but at the same time to claim that, oh no, it's a new place. We made up a whole new place. Looks exactly the same. Feels exactly the same. But no, it's a new place. We're being original. It's a new place.
Well, having said that, their desert scenes looked so beautiful.
In this one?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's Tatooine. It looks exactly like Tatooine does. Sand, desert planets in sci-fi movies usually always look awesome. Dune, this.
Anyway, something that annoyed me.
Just one thing.
Poe and Finn fighting.
Yeah.
Why were they fighting?
Yeah. Well, I think they're trying to recreate the character dynamics of the original trilogy.
But they didn't need to do that.
No.
They didn't need to do that. What I liked about those two characters was that they were friends, and they had great kind of a great bromance.
Yeah, they didn't see. Oh fuck! I hate that word, bromance. But yeah, they didn't seem to have a lot of tension between them in the Force Awakens. They just naturally got along with each other and naturally liked each other.
They didn't have that in the beginning of the film either. When they were playing that game with Chewie.
No, that's true. They're all in a good mood.
All of a sudden, they nearly die, and they're now fighting.
Yeah, Poe was getting like really shitty and snappy with everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, Rey included. Maybe he was like the voice of a generation and a fandom, telling Rey how we really feel.
Well, that's under a lot of pressure.
I've written here like when they go in those when they survive the swamp stuff. What is it? The quicksand, and they end up in those caves underneath.
Yeah.
That Sith dagger that they find, they just look like a really dumb prop. It looked like a low-budget prop on a huge-budget movie. Like, they could have got something that looked better than that, surely. I don't mean to nitpick everything in this, but it's a huge-budget movie. It looked like a prop from the set of, like, the Flintstones movie. Where everything looked intentionally phony.
It looked like our toddler's pirate sword.
Yeah, it did. It looked like the shit you find in a $2 store.
Yeah,
Although, and you know, in the wrong packet and mislabeled as well, with a bad translation.
Although, I did think it was cool how it was. What am I trying to say?
The Sith dagger.
How the dagger.
Red.
Not how it could be read. I liked that she changed to the angle and she could tell the exact spot of where the Sith Wayfinder was. I liked that. There was a map. So there was a location written on there and a map on the actual.
So she could tell the location in three-dimensional space based on the patterns on that dagger. But they couldn't find Luke in The Force Awakens when they had a star map just with a missing spot in the middle of where he was. And they had no clue where in the galaxy he was.
You missed an entire
and they had a 3D map.
Minutes of
they had a 3D
movie.
map of in Force Awakens.
No, the location was written on the dagger in Sith.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why they had to go to that other planet that I can't remember the name of. So they had the location there, but then they had the specific location in the Death Star. And you could only tell exactly where it was by using the dagger as a map.
In this one?
Yes.
Okay. But it still doesn't explain how they couldn't find
ways.
Luke in Force Awakens.
Well,
but yeah, I get what you're saying. And that dagger, that looked like something else. When she had the dagger extended, it kind of looked like something you might find in an adult store.
Righto.
Yeah, it did. And I don't know why they designed it to look like that. It's like someone was taking the piss on set, laughing their ass off hysterically as they were filming the scene, and like no one else got it on set. Because how that passed muster, I got no idea. Anyway.
I think you got something on the brain. First you're talking about...
No. Trust me, there's nothing on the brain when I'm watching this movie. My brain just switches right off. Shut down. Actually, no, it makes that noise. You know the Windows noise when it screws up. I don't know how it does it. That Windows noise when the program's like buggered and you have to shut down the computer or format it or something.
Oh wow.
Anyway, moving along.
Moving on.
I've got here that the snake creature in the cave actually looked amazing. I think visually it looked incredible. I couldn't tell if it was a CGI or a physical animatronic prop in the face. And that is kudos to the special effects people, because I couldn't tell if it was physically real or not. Yeah. So that was amazing. But again, with every positive thing, I've got to shit on it again, because there's always shitty lining to every cloud in this show,
yeah.
in this movie. That amazing snake creature was just another vehicle to introduce Rey's new Force Messiah powers, where she can heal any wound, be it a fatal lightsaber wound, or be it, I don't know, whatever the hell happened to this snake creature, because it had some kind of horrible wound. And yeah, a bullshit, overpowered ability, but once again, Rey's just got it because of reasons and because it's 2019.
Hang on. Speaking of that,
yes.
You want to know what's bullshit?
What?
So she
the whole thing
could have been trained to do that, right?
Yeah.
But then later on, spoiler, we see Kylo do it when he'd only ever seen it done once before.
Who did he heal? He didn't heal anybody.
Yes, he revived
Rey. Oh yeah.
And he had never done that before. At the end.
Oh yeah, but he learned from the best, from her.
Yes, just
from his Messiah.
Yes.
Force Messiah, the new power. Oh my god, terrible. Terrible. Okay. You want me to move along? Or you got something?
I've just got a quick note on the Knights of Ren.
Mm-hmm.
How they finally appear. And, so when I was in there, I was wondering, how did they get so close to Poe, Chewie, and Finn?
Oh yeah, without anybody noticing.
Well, without Rey noticing when she was right there and she was looking.
Shouldn't she have sensed the dark side?
You'd think so.
Because she could sense that Chewie was in a spaceship far away.
Yes.
But she couldn't sense the dark side of Kylo Ren and his knights being right there, like a few 100 feet away from them, not even.
She could sense that Kylo was coming. So she was there and she was focused on that. But how did she not realise that
there was like 6 other people
right there?
Yeah.
Plus all the stormtroopers who took Chewie. How did she not notice?
And even Force aside, they're standing in practically an open plain in all black in a desert.
I know.
You cannot spot them a mile away.
Right
a mile away. She should have seen them.
That part really annoyed me.
I know.
And that freaking...
What?
My note is... Rey looks excited and aroused at Kylo speeding towards her.
Aroused?
Yes.
Shit, I never know.
Hang on.
Explains why she enjoys that dagger so much.
Oh.
But yeah.
And then I've got, may the Matrix be with you.
Oh yeah, my note about my next note is Rey versus the TIE Fighter equals Matrix Queen. That's what she is. She's like like Trinity as well.
Yeah.
She's pulling off the Matrix moves and cutting the TIE Fighter, almost killing Kylo Ren. How did he survive that? I guess he used Force Survive. I don't know. Force airbags to survive that, right? And then later he says to her that I pushed you to test your ability to force you to see who you truly are. So he's like, he almost killed himself to show her who she truly is.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting strategy, Kylo Ren. To almost kill yourself to prove a point. Well done. But on try to stay as positive as I can where applicable. So I liked that old dusty ship that they found. It's a new ship. They're finally in this one. They somewhat introduced 1 or 2 new ships. You see a few new ships at the end when they had that giant armada of Rebel Alliance or whatever they are, Resistance ships turned up. There was a bunch of new looking ships there. You didn't really get a good look at them, but that dusty old ship on not Tatooine, right? That looked pretty cool. It looked original. I hadn't seen it before. You got to see the inside quite a bit, which was cool. They actually built a set for it.
Yeah.
Although, correct me if I'm wrong, the ship felt a lot bigger on the inside than it should have been when they were standing next to it on the outside. It looked tiny when they were standing next to it, but on the inside it looked huge. Yeah. But still, kudos for designing a new ship. Not that it was anything, out of this world, but I enjoyed seeing it. And, if they ever release a model for it, I won't buy it, but I'll enjoy looking at it.
Well, I've got, again, that Finn and his acting was believable. So when he was yelling out, "Oh, Rey, they've got Chewie," you could hear it in his voice as though it actually did happen in real life.
Oh, the way she screamed Chewie was so annoying. It was like a raping of my ears. Where she screamed Chewie when she realized she'd killed him. Yeah, I guess it was one of the few moments where she seemed
showed emotion.
Genuine and emotion.
Yeah.
But just the pitch she hit with that was horrendous. I feel like Simon Cowell would have said no on what is it, Britain's Got Talent or whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
You are harsh.
I am harsh, but fuck, I paid money twice to watch this shit. So I'm allowed to critique the product I paid for. Also, before we move on from the TIE Fighter, why the hell do these TIE Fighters have such shitty controls? The controls like these two handles, and to go faster, he had to push them forward. Remember?
Yeah.
What's wrong with the joystick? Fuck me. It's so simple and easy to control things with. They had these two levers instead. They looked really cumbersome and heavy and hard to move around. He's supposed to do quick maneuvers with those stupid things. Bad ergonomic design there, TIE Fighter engineers. All right?
Righto.
Yeah.
So, you know that scene where...
Are you moving along?
No, I'm still...
Oh, you're still in
there.
Yeah. Okay.
So, the scene where Kylo is standing to the left of the screen and Rey is to the right, and they're both trying to control the ship.
Yep.
And that, to me...
Oh, they're both trying to pull the ship. Yeah.
I was like, hey, this could be a pretty good scene. But then, as soon as this got in my head, I can't stop seeing it now. It looked like they were both flying a kite.
And there was an invisible string.
Yes.
And they were both pulling it.
Yeah.
Someone should clip that scene and add "Let's all fly a kite" to add that music and put strings in.
If one of you do that, can you please?
Well, acknowledge that we came up with the idea.
No, just do it. Just do it and let us know so we can see it.
Just do it for the good of humanity.
Yes.
You're free to use it.
Yes.
Now, that's my last point about this scene also was, Rey has the strongest force pull ever against pumping engine thrusters and also her surprise force lightning. That was like a real hand-fisted foreshadowing. Ooh, she's the granddaughter of Palpatine. Look, she has force lightning, but nobody knows it yet, you know? I just felt it was very on the nose, way too obvious foreshadowing. Because nobody else has ever been shown in the Star Wars saga, correct me if I'm wrong, diehard Star Wars fans, no one else in the saga of the movies, at least, has been shown to be able to use Force Lightning apart from Palpatine. Oh, and Dooku. Sorry, Dooku in Attack of the Clones. He uses it as well. So it's a Sith move. So for her to be able to do it, she has some Sith connection. So straight away, it's like making it obvious that she has a connection to Palpatine. When I thought they were making that as like a big reveal later on, but I feel like they blew the load on the reveal right there. You know, they made it way too obvious. All right, what's your next point?
I would like to know how Chewie switched ships.
Yeah, they never showed that.
In watching him.
Yeah, you're right. How the hell did that happen? That made no sense at all. But another giant plot hole in a movie of... in a giant black hole-sized void of plot holes. That's what it is. All right, next I've got Huck sucks again. Because he just does.
Yeah.
I think we had a short scene with Hux.
Okay.
Huck sucks again. And so does Richard E. Grant. That's the guy that plays that sort of top commander guy that's, in love with the Emperor.
Yep.
The guy that ends up killing Hux later on.
Yes.
That guy. I felt that he sucked. He was really overdoing it and really trying to chew up the scenery. And, you haven't seen his Twitter reaction to The Rise of Skywalker, have you? Richard E. Grant's.
No.
His hysterical, cringy, gushfest review of The Rise of Skywalker before it came out. He went on Twitter and recorded his reaction having just seen it. You have to say, I'm tempted to pause this right now, show it to you, and then have you react to what you thought of it. All right? You got to do it. All right?
Are you serious?
We're pausing this. She's watching it. We're coming back. She'll give her thoughts on it.
Oh gosh.
And we're back. She just saw it. So how did you take his reaction to seeing the movie he was in? I'm sure he gave an honest opinion, yes?
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Was that cringy or what?
No comment.
Yeah. I'll just say his acting was better in that than in the movie. How about that?
No.
Yeah. If you've never seen that,
No.
folks, go look it up. Richard E. Grant, The Rise of Skywalker reaction. It's, it's hard to watch.
I know. Yeah, but he was good in the movie. Like, he was believable.
As a bastard.
Yeah, yes.
I don't know what that says about an actor when they can convincingly play an absolute asshole.
Oh.
Like,
Anyway.
Yeah.
Alright. Let's go.
Let's go. Alright, I'm going to try to be positive again.
Hang on, wait. Before we go there.
Yeah? What?
Why didn't Rey hold Finn's hand? That really pissed me off.
When?
So when they were doing like, hands in, with 3PO, Poe, Finn, and Rey.
Mm-hmm.
So they were all like, we're all in this together until the end.
Was this on the desert planet?
I think so.
Or back on the forest planet before they embarked on their journey?
No.
It was on the desert planet? Because it must have been if you wrote that note at this point in the film, because we were on the desert planet. Or we just left the desert planet. I think. They must have been on the ship.
No, hang on. I think they'd just found out that Leia was gone.
Had passed away.
Oh,
no, that's not till way later. No, they were on their way to Kajimi.
Okay. Well, anyway.
So on the way to Kajimi.
Somewhere there.
Yeah.
They said, I think Finn said, hands in, come on, And so Finn and Poe held hands. Poe and 3PO held hands. And Rey just stood there. Oh, I'm not going to hold your hand.
I guess she's just too good for Finn. She's just too good for that guy.
But then she hugs him sometimes, but she won't take his hand.
Yeah.
But then later on, she goes and holds...
his place.
Later on, she goes and holds... I can't remember her name. The other stormtrooper that ran away.
Oh,
the one that was like
Afro
Amazonian...
girl. Afro girl.
Amazon.
I don't know. I'm just talking about her most prominent feature.
Amazonian.
Amazonian. Space Horse Rider.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, that just frustrated me but it also tied in well with The Force Awakens, where she wouldn't take his hand.
Yes. She just seems to have contempt for the guy. Like, she really views him as beneath her.
Yeah.
Just terrible.
Yeah.
What a racist Rey is. All right. No, it's funny that we say, you mentioned this, that it was on the way to Kajimi, because that's what my next point is. And the only reason why I remember the name of this planet compared to the others is because it actually stood out. I actually enjoyed that setting.
Yeah.
I actually thought Kajimi was visually a very interesting setting. It was like a rocky planet with that city up in the mountains, and it was really snowy. I felt like we were in Tibet or the Himalayas somewhere, but a space version of it, a sci-fi space version of it. And I liked that setting. It felt kind of original. Like I don't remember seeing, like we've seen snowy Hoth and all that, but we haven't seen a rocky mountainous setting like that in Star Wars. So for me, that was interesting.
Okay. That just reminded me of the Grinch's village.
Oh, the
CGI
Whoville
version. Yes.
So it was CGI Whoville.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there goes the tension of that old place.
Sorry.
Not that there was much anyway.
Oh, hang on. So my next point after she doesn't want to hold Finn's hand is Rey finally puts her hand out and she gives it to Zori.
Oh, Zori. Oh, we're getting to Zori Bliss now.
Yes.
Before I get to Zori Bliss, though, I just got to say, they're introducing a quirky new cute cone-faced droid. But seriously, like, who cares? That droid was so forgettable because I forgot about it, that it was even in this movie until I saw it the second time.
Why did they do that? It's not like they can... It's not like they did it for the merchandise because
I don't think anyone's going to buy that. I don't even know if they have merch of that. They already had...
Why did they do that?
They already had 3 droids. It's like droid overload. Don't need more droids to remember the names of. We've got BB-8, we've got R2-D2, we've got C-3PO. I think R2 took the backseat. He didn't come on the journey. But you already had C-3PO, annoying bastard that he is, right? And you had BB-8, who doesn't really do anything in this movie. I mean, he's sort of just like a background furniture prop. Doesn't do anything. So they introduced this new thing, which I don't remember what it's called, but it just kept talking twice, remember? It'd say everything 2 times. Hello, hello, sorry. Like, okay.
There was no.
It was like they were trying to do the droid version of Tony 2 times or whatever. I think he's a guy is it in Goodfellas or The Simpsons? I can't even remember. But there's like a gangster guy who says everything 2 times.
Yeah, okay.
I think The Simpsons copied the character from Goodfellas.
Alright.
Who says everything twice. Yeah, like why put that in this movie? Anyway, but yeah, now Zori Bliss time. The bliss of Zori.
Alright,
you got something to say about Zori Bliss?
No,
because I've got a little bit.
I'm sure you do.
Alright, Zori Bliss. She's pointless, nothing forgettable character. And she's only there to give Poe depth and a history, or an attempt at that. But it's too little, too late, because this is something you do character development much earlier in a series than the 3rd fucking movie.
Yes.
All right? You do this in the 1st movie.
Yes.
And then a little bit more in the 2nd. So by the 3rd movie, we really know the person.
Yes.
And we've grown to care about them and to know them as a character. Right?
Yeah.
But they've tried to do this at the last fucking minute. The last movie of the entire saga.
But see,
the entire trilogy.
This really should have been done in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
But really, like, I'm starting to think, what did they do for 2 hours or however long The Last Jedi was? Oh, that's right. They were too busy making political statements that had nothing to do with Star Wars, and they were too busy doing that to develop their characters.
Yeah.
And actually give them a storyline.
Yeah.
So,
and what's with Zori Bliss's ridiculous shaped helmet? Right? Like, why does it have this giant, like, elongated brick thing on the back? It looks stupid. It's impractical. It should be so encumbering. She'd be bashing it on everything. Like, if she had to sit in a chair, she'd have to sit with her head like a meter forward. She wouldn't even be able to sit comfortably in a chair. It's a dumb... And she never takes off the fucking helmet.
I just want to know...
She never takes it off. Even where there's breathable atmosphere. All she does is show her eyes, her pretty Kerry Russell eyes. Why not show Kerry Russell's face? She's a pretty woman. Far out. I
just want to know why they put a Power Ranger in Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even pick up on that. She did. She looked exactly like a Power Ranger. I would have probably enjoyed this movie more if some Megazord robot turned up at the end. Just started bashing the shit out of everything. Yeah. And kicking Palpatine's prized little, brand new Final Order fleet.
Yeah. Do you think that they put Zori in so that they could try and turn Poe into sort of Han?
Oh, yeah.
As like the ladies' man? I
saw Poe and Finn as the substitutes for Han Solo. The 2 of them together are Han Solo. Because they both act like Han Solo. They're both sort of brave. They're both sort of scoundrelly a little bit. More so Poe, sorry. Yeah. Scoundrelly. And they tried to show in this that he's, got the way with the women. And he's got a past with these women. You know what I mean? He's got a history with them. That's a Han Solo sort of trait. But yeah, the swashbuckling adventurer thing, they sort of have both of them doing that. And that was Han Solo's sort of character. Yeah. So yeah, I think so. But yes, Kerry Russell's eyes cannot save this movie. Sorry. That's a point I had. Kerry Russell's pretty eyes cannot save this movie.
Okay.
All right.
So, did you notice that I think it was 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 times during this movie, they kept saying the lines, "If this mission fails, it was all for nothing," all of this time.
Well, like the entire plot of this movie. Bringing Palpatine back means that it was all for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like that was actually a message from Disney. maybe Disney said that to them. They're like, oh, if this fails, all of this was for nothing, kind of thing. And then it ended up in the movie and repeated in the movie over and over again.
There were a few.
I mean, Leia says it.
Yeah.
Kylo says it. I think Poe says it.
It was like they were, in some moments, it's like a secret script writer ran in and threw a little line in there for us, for the fans, to tell us that we feel your pain. We know what was going on.
Yeah.
And then it's back to the shit writing again. Like, so they're walking around Kajimi, and it looked pretty good, but then they walk through another bar, and it's just another lame, pale imitation of the episode 4 cantina scene. They can never recreate that, so I don't even know why they keep trying. Another bar with some interesting alien music and a whole bunch of different looking alien characters, but it's never as endearing or memorable as the original cantina scene. So I don't know why they keep trying to imitate that, because it just comes off as lame every time they do.
I didn't even notice that.
And they walk through the bar briefly. It's not a long scene, and they're on their way to meet that another cute little alien creature thing.
Oh, that little thing was cute.
I've written here that I assume they put that in to please the fangirls, but I still think it failed because those same fangirls, for the most part, didn't turn up to watch the movie. So please the teenage fangirls who have to ask their daddy to open his wallet to come and watch the movie. So what's the point? They're not going to come to watch it.
Or their wives that got dragged along.
Yeah, but how many girlfriends were saying to their boyfriends, "Come on, hun, I'm dragging you to watch The Rise of Skywalker"? I don't think so.
Yeah, none.
Maybe there are some. I know there are a lot of fangirls out there. You see them at the conventions and shit like that. There's plenty.
But they're different.
They do the cosplaying and all that shit. But those people spend lots of money on this stuff. But the average general going public, girls aren't that much into Star Wars.
This movie was not made for the fangirls or the fanboys.
No, obviously, because they told us that we're all stupid.
This movie was made... This whole series was made to bring in new business funding.
Right. Yeah.
So they wanted to try and get the women in, because they're like, oh, let's double our viewership. But no, it didn't work. If they were aiming for the mums to bring their kids, no, it didn't work. If they're aiming for, the girls to, let's go out and hang out with our friends. Oh, hey, you want to go see the Star Wars movie? No, they aren't doing that.
No. So
they just, instead of doing what they did best, what they knew how to do best, they went and changed it all, and, well, that's the end of Star Wars.
Yep.
Literally the end of Star Wars. Like, I don't see them ever being able to come back from
the
this.
young kids nowadays are too busy going to Hanson concerts and stuff like that. Sorry, is that reference a bit out of date? Or is it One Direction now? Backstreet Boys? Well, they're like 50 years old now. The Backstreet Boys, far enough. Yeah. No. But yeah, look, I agree with you. The creature was cute. It was a cute creature.
Yeah.
And all that. But, it's not that memorable. It's not going to be as memorable as the creatures in other movies from Star Wars. But I guess they tried. They tried to, broaden the fan base. But I just don't think it worked.
Yeah.
And I've written here, because they had the scene where they had to, reprogram C-3PO.
Yes.
And I've written here the C-3PO is still annoying. So he's still annoying but not endearing in this one, or memorable. So, like, again, they're trying to be consistent by having C-3PO being annoying, because he was annoying the hell out of Han Solo and Luke in the original series, and Leia. He was annoying everybody, but it was endearing and it was memorable. And the dialogue and the banter was funny and fun. But in this one, he's just annoying.
Yes. Yeah, there's
only one fun. C-3PO had one funny bit. Sorry to cut you off. One funny bit when he said some line and they looked at him like in disbelief that he said something so stupid, and then he turned around to look at what they were looking at, like he thought they were looking at something else.
Yeah, that
in the
was
desert
good.
on the desert planet. That's the only bit that made me chuckle slightly.
Yes.
With C-3PO.
Otherwise, he seemed to be a waste.
Yeah.
Again.
Yep.
So I'm now up on the ship.
Are
you?
Yeah, just when they get into the ship. Well, I've written here, I don't know, I assume we're on the ship. I've written Rey's background. Who cares at this point? It's too late in this shitty game. Oh, because Rey was having, she was having flashback scenes or something again.
Okay.
About her background. And at this point, I'm just uninvested completely in her background. And her parentage and all that shit. I just don't care.
Oh, right, where it was... where she remembered that her parents left her there,
right? Yeah,
to save her, kind of thing.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Sure.
I stopped caring in Force Awakens when they showed her parents flying away. I was like, well, that's the last I have to care about that plot device. I should have known it was going to go nowhere. Well, it was going nowhere, and then they tried to retcon it in this one to make it have meaning.
No, it was going somewhere. Then Rian Johnson was like, "No."
Yeah. See, this is what's funny to me.
Oh, surprise!
Yeah.
It's going somewhere again.
Now, it's funny to me that Rian Johnson said "fuck you" to The Force Awakens and destroyed all the plot directions that was going in, and now people who like The Last Jedi are upset that Rian Johnson's vision and plot directions were just fucked over by The Rise of Skywalker.
That's exactly.
But it's like,
what
isn't
happened.
he just getting exactly what he did to The Force Awakens? He's just getting exactly what he deserved?
Exactly.
His movie being subverted and undone?
Yes.
By J.J. Abrams?
And that's how we knew it was going to be a terrible trilogy. I mean, as soon as we watched, I think we were like 10 minutes into The Last Jedi, and I realised, oh crap, this is going to be a big hot mess. And I just knew that The Last Jedi had spent so long trying to completely undo all of The Force Awakens. And then when I think when you told me that J.J. Abrams was doing Episode 9.
Yeah, because originally it was Colin Trevorrow, the guy who did Jurassic World.
Okay.
He was going to do Episode 9. But they didn't like his vision.
Oh, okay.
So they sacked him. Or he quit. The irreconcilable differences with Kathleen Kennedy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when you told me that he was going to do Episode 9, I just realised, oh god, here we go. This is gonna be, this is
JJ's
terrible.
revenge.
Yes, exactly. The revenge of JJ Abrams. I mean, I knew that he was just going to unleash everything back. He's like, he's like, well, you undid everything I did.
Yeah.
I set you up to have a great series, and then you undid it all. So now I'm going to undo everything.
He's like, you're gonna fuck me, Ruin Johnson? Now watch me fuck you. And that's what he did. And Ryan's not happy about it. But hey, in the words of the Joker, what did the Joker say? Get what you fucking deserve. Did he?
You can't say that.
No, I'm not implying that he should then take the next step that the Joker did to Murray on the Murray show. I just say just that line. Just that line. That's all. Just that one line. That's a great, memorable line in the Joker. I'm not endorsing what that line led to. Yes, ever at all. Yes. No. That was wrong. Very, very wrong.
Okay, so now that we're on the ship.
Now that we're on the ship,
we're on the ship. So they get there. And they're not worried about any cameras. They're like, oh, who cares about the cameras? I don't. And then the next room that they go into, they come across the 2 stormtroopers, and, we get some Jedi mind tricks and whatever. Mm-hmm. And then the third room that they go into, they're like, oh, get the cameras. Yeah. What's the point?
It's become a problem all of a sudden.
What's the point? Yeah. That really frustrated me because... I remember as soon as they went into the first room, I was like, oh, there's a camera right there. You going to do anything about that?
I didn't even notice it.
Obviously not.
You saw the actual camera?
I'm pretty sure they had, like, red light.
I'm serious, you are the most perceptive person.
No, not really.
That I've ever watched a movie with.
For sure. But anyway. So yeah, that just frustrated me.
I can't remember at all, let alone for sure. All right. Am I up next?
Yeah, go for it.
Or I've just written here, Rey's Jedi mind trick abilities are very thoroughly unconvincing to me. Just when she was convincing those stormtroopers. Again, another attempt at levity and humor in this that just fell flat on its face. To me, again, humor is subjective. I'm sure some people laughed out loud hysterically like it was the funniest thing since Seinfeld. But for me,
I chuckled a bit.
It did nothing for me. It just came across as very lame. And again, it just came across as everything in this movie is like a vehicle to portray Rey's supremacy over everyone and everything. And all adversity. That's all it just feels like to me. Just a vehicle for her greatness.
Okay.
Yeah. And stormtroopers still suck at shooting at anyone or anything, which is, I guess, consistent with the series. So I'll give them one tick there for consistency with stormtroopers being shit. Not that that's something to be proud of.
Okay. Well, my next note is so they kept talking about how Kylo and Rey are two that become one or something like that. They're two that are one. I can't remember if that's exactly how it was. But what does that mean now that Kylo's dead?
Does she absorb all his power?
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Harry Potter style? Is that in Harry Potter? Absorbing power?
Does a lot of her power get removed?
I've got no clue how the dynamics or the science or the fucking mythology of this new saga, this new trilogy works. I've got no idea.
Did they mean that really it was another Harry Potter thing with Voldemort where only one of them can live? So they were.
I can't talk Harry Potter stuff. I've got no idea about it. Yeah. All I know is Harry is a wizard because there's a line where someone says to him, "You're a wizard, Harry." That's all I know.
I've been trying to get my husband to watch Harry Potter with me for 10 years.
I saw the first movie. I just remember absolutely nothing about it. I just remember that Hans Gruber is in it. That's the villain from Die Hard.
Yeah, I know that, but...
That's all I remember.
Alright.
Hans Gruber, and there's a kid who's a wizard, because someone told him he's a wizard.
Alright, sure.
Alright. Moving along.
Go on.
I've got here, long distance lightsaber fights are stupid because there's no tension, because you know that no one can hurt each other.
Right? Are you sure they can't hurt each other?
Well,
because they can grab
How can you have a lightsaber fight from thousands of kilometers away?
Well,
it doesn't make any... Because he was down on the surface of the planet, she's up in orbit, or up high up in the atmosphere, in a spaceship.
For Luke.
What?
Yes.
Oh, in The Last Jedi, okay.
Yes.
We're acting like that's actual plausible canon in the Star Wars universe. That's not canon, so it doesn't count.
I am happy to...
But yeah, you're right. No, but his saber never touched sabers with Kylo's, did it? Oh no, he was interacting with matter. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I keep thinking this is so dumb that they must have just introduced it now. But you're right. Everything that's super dumb like this came in usually in The Last Jedi.
Yes.
So yeah.
So sorry if you're a fan.
But now that
The Last Jedi, but
now that they've established that, there is no tension because it's a long distance thing, and I don't think they can really be killed that way. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Or maybe that's why they kept showing the bag of whatever that red stuff was, berries or something.
Which bag of berries?
When they're fighting and then the berries spread all over the floor.
Oh yeah.
Maybe
they show that they could interact with each other.
Yes.
Okay, maybe, but it's still stupid.
Yeah.
All right, what's your next point?
My next point is that Kylo's helmet looks good when it's sealed with the red.
Oh, I thought it just looked like he drew on it with crayon. I thought it looked really... I remember specifically the first time we watched it. The first time we watched it, I remember thinking that looks like a cheap prop. I don't know. Like someone just used magic marker to do it.
Well, I liked it.
Like we need something different. And someone had a magic marker on set and just did it quickly.
It was rebuilt with by that monkey.
Oh, yeah. that monkey that looked like it was CGI, leftover CGI work from Rise of the Planet of the Apes or something. Like they used the Caesar mold and they just put pointy ears on him.
Yeah.
That was 100% had to be Caesar's face from nose down. So silly. And there's a weird connection because Andy Serkis, who did the motion capture and the voice of Caesar, also did the motion capture and voice of Snoke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. About the most interesting thing about this movie.
Okay.
All right, I've got Hux, the hero spy, is a stupid moron, and he gets owned later by Richard E. Grant's character, who just shoots him.
Yeah.
And I've written that was one of the best scenes in this entire trilogy. Most enjoyable scenes. Hux getting drilled and owned and hammered like that, yeah.
Poor Hux.
Because Hux being the spy... I wrote here the hero spy, but later on he immediately tells them that he doesn't care about their plight. He just wants to hurt Ren.
No, he's not a hero. He's a coward who just hates Ren.
Kylo Ren. He just wanted to hurt Kylo Ren. So he's not a hero at all.
Yeah,
he's just a bumbling moron, and he can't even get his betrayal right.
I know.
Yeah.
Stupid Hux.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Well, my next point is that the Death Star looks great.
Ha! Pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
I've before speaking about the Death Star, there was that little bit in the hangar where Kylo tells Rey that she's a Palpatine.
Oh, yes.
And I've just written Rey Palpatine equals fucking terrible. Because it's, again, like I said earlier, destroys the whole mythos and story arc and entire story of the original saga. And the fact that they just made her a Palpatine, it just felt like a way to justify her being powerful. That's all. And it's a shit.
That's exactly what it was.
A cop-out and a lame retcon to try and fix their mistake afterwards because of all the criticism they got.
Yep.
That's all. So they doubled down instead of admitting that it was dumb. But I guess how do you write your way out of a dumb story like that? I guess you do something really crazy like make her a Palpatine. But yes... Moving on to the destroyed Death Star, I agreed with you, and I've written here that the destroyed sunken Death Star looks quite striking.
Yes.
And it's a good location. Again, it's something that's, I'd say, original in the sense that, yes, it's a Death Star, we've seen it before, but it's a different location for a change. It's not just another desert planet, it's not just another ice planet, or a forest planet.
And we're not battling it.
No.
It's there as a wreckage, and...
Yeah. And I loved the giant waves, looked spectacular.
Oh, yes.
It was a good effect, and it made that location and the setting look epic.
Yes.
And the first time you're looking at it, you're like, oh, some big shit's going to go down here. Mm-hmm. And I guess it does in a way. But, yeah. That location was good, even though most of the stuff that happened in and around there was lame-o, extremo.
I don't think I ever really appreciated the size of the Death Star until I saw the wreckage of it.
Yeah, that's just a small chunk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Including, like, it was nice to see the throne room as well. Like, the Emperor's throne room. But it's completely ridiculous and implausible that any of the Death Star, especially chunks that size, survived the massive explosive destruction that it got completely blown up from the inside out. Remember the Millennium Falcon in Return of the Jedi and an X-Wing or two? They flew all the way in through a tunnel, all the way to the core, blew up the core reactor, and then flew out as the whole thing exploded. So how do these giant chunks of it survive to land on the planet?
Why'd you say that?
Why?
Because I liked that, and now...
Yeah, well, now it makes no sense.
Yeah, just like the rest of the story.
It doesn't make any sense. The thing was obliterated, completely obliterated. But hey, it made for a good. Good visual.
Yes.
That's all. That's about the only positive things this movie had was a couple of good visuals. Yep.
All right. My next point is horses with husks and Janna.
Janna.
Janna, that was her name.
Oh, you figured it out.
Yes.
Oh, you wrote it then, Janna.
I think
it can't be Jenna because that's an Earth name. It's got to be an alien name. Janna. Fucking hell. Yeah.
There's a charcoal chicken place called Janna.
Oh yeah, you're right. Correct.
Best garlic
Must be
sauce ever.
out of this world.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what you did there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. My next point was also about her. I said the ex-Stormtrooper girl, because I did not know or care what her name was. I said she's... I said I find her unconvincing as an ex-Stormtrooper. And why does she have a...
Yeah,
I never believed that she was an ex-Stormtrooper. And why... She didn't strike me as a warrior or anything. Maybe a warrior, like W-O-R-R, but not a warrior, as in a soldier. But...
Well, yeah, sorry.
No, I said, why does she have a giant afro when you're desperately trying to survive? It's impractical and it's encumbering, okay? When you're trying to survive. It would get in the way, you'd get lice in it, and you'd be bashing your head against everything. So, yeah.
You want to talk about something that's not practical.
Tie it up or shave it off if you're trying to survive.
Entire outfit.
Oh, yeah. Well, her, like, 3/4 length pants.
It's 3/4. It's got those drapey bits that would just get caught on.
Yeah, I know.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure her boots have a slight heel because when she was walking through the Death Star, you could hear it kind of echoing as though she had heels.
Remember, with those straps, if she ever gets caught, she has force unravel or force fix.
Oh,
force fix any situation.
Hang on.
Force untangle. There you go.
Maybe the drapes are so if she ever falls, she's got a parachute.
Oh my god, she can get a bungee. It's a bungee cord in case she falls.
I think like it looks cool, but it's very impractical.
Yeah. Also, did you notice that Captain Ray is an expert sailor now too?
Oh,
she's like sailing the waves in the seven seas of.
It looked great, but
yeah, it looked great, but
why? Also,
she could do no wrong.
How did Finn and Jana get there when she said no, it's too dangerous, we can't go there. I'll take you tomorrow.
Yeah, how did Finn get there?
And then all of a sudden they're there straight away.
Was she there with her horse too? No, surely not. I can't even remember that. If she was there with her horse,
no, she wasn't there with her horse.
Then I'm just gonna walk right out of this fucking review because that's just too much. No. All right, I've written here that the crashed Millennium Falcon looked cool. That's all. Just visually, that looked cool in the background. That's all.
I agree.
Yeah, it just looked good.
Oh, so did you notice all the feelings that Finn was having?
All the what?
All the feelings.
Or like calling it, like trying to help Rey all the time. He seemed like deeply in love with the girl.
No,
like Rey.
Yeah.
My Rey, please hold my hand, acknowledge my existence. I don't want the Afro girl with her encumbering, impractical hair.
No. So I'm talking about, does he have force sensitivities?
Oh, yeah, they hint at that later, that he feels something. Just out of nowhere.
Also,
absolutely ridiculous. I think I've got a note about that.
I don't think it's out of nowhere.
I think I've got a note about that in the next few hours coming up.
I don't
of this review.
think it's...
what, out of nowhere?
I don't think it's out of nowhere. Because I'm thinking back to The Force Awakens, and remember how we couldn't work out how Kylo knew that...
What, to look at Finn?
Yes, to look at
Finn. In that village at the start?
Yes.
That he sensed something in him?
Yes. Also...
Trust me, this movie did not think that far ahead about things.
You never know.
This saga, I mean.
You never know.
This trilogy, sorry.
Also, who was it that handed Finn a lightsaber?
Maz Kanata. Anus Eyes. Who is in this film. A small cameo with Rose Tico Taco.
Yes,
they hung out together.
And she gets to see her boyfriend Chewie.
Oh, and that's right. Who's been trying to avoid her for 3 movies. Trying to get away from that asshole.
Stop it.
All right. Should I go next?
Yes.
All right. Evil Dark Rey is cringo lamo cosplay yuck. That's what I've said. Yep. Yeah. That was terrible. And the worst, most cringiest part, I almost wanted to vomit, is when, again, like in her vision, they were saber fighting and they locked sabers, and then Evil Dark Rey went rawr.
Oh, what was that?
Yeah, that was terrible.
That's like something absolutely I do when I'm playing with the kids.
Terrible. Yeah.
She kind of looked like more of a vampire kind of thing.
Like they should play that scene on airplanes when they're trying to emphasize those vomit bags. Like, if you ever experienced this feeling of nausea, play that and then tell people, grab your bag quickly. Yep. So how did you feel about Evil Dark Rey? The vision of what she may become if she sits on the throne of Palpatine. Did it look intimidating?
It came from nowhere, so it did give me a bit of a shock. And I liked that she was, I don't know, I guess imagining it, because I think that helped her to push it away.
So she saw that as a potential possibility if she goes down a certain path.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unless it was supposedly, you know, or you're grabbing the Sith Wayfinder, you're going to see yourself as a Sith. Like, it was kind of built in, yeah.
But don't you reckon that it looked really, like, poorly done? Like, it looked like a cutscene from a video game or a fan trailer.
Yes.
It looked so subpar and cringy. Yeah. Oh, terrible. All right, my next point I've already covered. Just says Anus Eyes returns for a cameo. That's all. In the jungle. Yeah. So yeah, we've covered that. She's back and stinking up the screen again.
I didn't turn my page quick enough.
Yeah.
Going back to that scene where
which scene?
That we were just talking about. Where Rey sees Evil Rey.
Oh yeah.
It reminded me again of Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
Where it just reminded me of a Horcrux.
Okay, yeah, don't know what that is.
Yeah, okay. But I'm just putting it out there. Alright.
Is that something to do with a sort of promiscuous woman and a crux?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay.
Alright. The dark side is in our nature. Surrender to it.
Who said? Kylo said that, right?
Kylo said that too.
Mr. Ren.
Yeah. No, not Mr. Ren. Just Ren.
Oh, Ren.
Ben
Ren said that.
Very bad advice, Kylo. Poorly done.
Ben Ren. So I'm just still laughing at Ben Ren. I feel like I could order fried rice from a Ben Ren place. Yeah, it sounds like one of those names. Anyway.
Awkward.
Hey.
Okay, go. Your next bit.
I blame every lame thing I say on this movie and how it uninspired me.
I just blame the fact that it's 2 a.m.
Yeah, that helps as well, or hurts.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah, he did. He was trying to convince her to come to the dark side, and but yeah, I didn't even feel like he wasn't even convincing me that he believed in the dark side anymore. And he was getting close to his redemption too.
Yes.
It was only like a few minutes away. All right, I'm diving into the saber fight now. The only real world saber fight where they're actually next to each other in real life. And I've just got here that there was too many quick cuts, too many close-ups, and I couldn't take in or appreciate any of the choreography that was going on because it was just zoomed in so much.
Yeah.
And cutting away too quick. I couldn't see the moves they were doing. I couldn't see any of the artistry or anything of the choreography. And it could have been a beautifully epic and intense fight scene, but just couldn't see what the hell was going on.
Okay.
So it was a letdown.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And it sucks because they were fighting in a brilliant location.
Yeah.
The waves crashing, Death Star in the background, huge ocean swells in a storm. Oh, could have been awesome.
I really enjoyed that fight the first time. But then the second time, I did start to notice all the quick cuts. And then I realised that was pretty much our only lightsaber scene. And it was just disappointing because it could have been epic.
Yep.
But again, it fell flat. But I do have a note from that scene, and that is that, you know, a lot of people are saying that they don't see that Rey and Kylo have any chemistry. But,
yeah, I'm one of those people, yeah.
Okay, well, all I ever see when I see them two on screen is that they just want to fuck. Seriously?
Oh my god.
Sorry.
I didn't know you were going there.
But, no, look, so my note says they want to have angry sex in that scene.
So this is the R-rated portion of the review, is it?
Oh, come on. You were talking about anus size.
Yeah. Not in a sexual way. In the complete opposite, actually.
Things from an adult.
Because everything that came out of Maz Kanata was just shit. No, I don't hate on her character that much. Because the actress who played her is a good actress. Just the character they made her, covered her up with was shit. And had arseholes for eyes. Well,
I definitely can feel their tension.
Yeah, okay.
So, especially in that scene.
Well, again, see, so there was relevance to that dagger. The Sith dagger, all right? They wanted to use it. Yeah. So you got that kind of tension between them, did you?
Yes.
But nothing romantic or love. Like actual genuine caring.
No, I feel like they did care about each other, but maybe it's because they're kind of all that each other had.
How can Kylo care about her if he wants to plunge her into the dark side and destroy her soul? Like, you don't do that to someone you love.
But to him, he doesn't think he's doing the wrong thing.
I don't know. I just got the...
Well, actually, he does, because he feels the light.
That's right. I just got the impression that he's just lonely. He's lonely at the top, being the evil emperor, and he just wants someone by his side to, I don't know, shoot the shit with and talk about the next evil thing they're going to do.
Yeah.
So that's why his instant after that immediate redemption and quick turnaround felt really rushed, just out of nowhere. This is something that should have been gradual over the 3 movies, but instead it was evil, 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 evil through movie 1, evil, evil, evil through movie 2, and then evil, 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 good all of a sudden halfway through movie 3. Yeah. We didn't get enough showing him slowly turning or struggling. He was just pure evil.
No, he
up until now.
In The Force Awakens, we saw part of his struggle.
Yeah, but that's to become more evil. And then he stayed evil, evil, evil until this one. Yeah. And then just all of a sudden he's good again because his dad showed up. How come his dad couldn't convince him the first time? Anyway, I'll get to that.
Well, he wasn't ready for it. He didn't have Rey to say...
Yeah.
Because Rey said to him, oh, I wanted to take your hand, but I wanted to take your hand. I wanted to take Ben's hand. I don't want to take your hand.
Yeah,
like
it was almost like he was 2 different people.
Yeah.
But that Ben guy really was dead. He killed him in Force Awakens. Ben, the decent part of him.
Hang on. What? So, does that mean that now Kylo... So... Oh, okay. So really, he's kind of like Vader in that he changed.
Oh, what you're saying? Because how Ben Kenobi said that your father is dead to Luke. He said your father, Anakin Skywalker, is dead, and he was killed by Darth Vader.
Yes.
Which technically was true, because then when Luke confronts him in, I think it's Empire Strikes Back, and says, "You lied to me about my dad. Yeah. You said Vader killed him," and he goes, "Well." Obi-Wan's like, yeah, well, that is kind of true if you look at it from a different perspective. I can't remember the exact line, damn it, I should know that. But yeah, he's like, it is true in a certain kind of way. Yeah. So yeah, in effect, the same thing though. Ben Solo was killed by Kylo Ren. Yes. But then Ben Solo killed Kylo Ren.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah.
Just like the dynamic of J.J. Abrams' movie was killed by Rian Johnson, and then Rian Johnson's movie was killed by J.J. Abrams.
Yes. And between the two of them, they've killed
an entire saga. Legacy. Well, not really, because it's not canon. Disney Star Wars is not canon. I'm just going to have to keep saying it, because that's the theme of this review for me. Disney Star Wars is not canon. So I'm just ripping on this fan film. That's all it is.
I've got Leia dying was touching.
Oh my, wow, I've got the opposite.
Hang on. I've got Leia dying was touching because she had to sacrifice herself just like everybody else in this.
How did Leia sacrifice herself?
Saga.
She just laid down for a rest and went to eternal sleep.
No, she laid down for a rest and then she called out to Ben.
Yeah.
Hang on.
But how's that sacrificing herself?
Hang on. How come...
What, calling his name is a death sentence?
How come that killed her?
Yeah, why did it kill her?
When she had already Mary Poppins herself.
I know. It didn't make sense.
In The Last Jedi.
That's what I've just written. Leia's death was not impactful to me. Because she just laid down and croaked. That's it. And I mean any disrespect to Carrie Fisher, because rest in peace, Carrie Fisher, the real person. I'm talking about Leia's character and how it's portrayed in the movie. It had no impact on me.
I meant more her dying and then everybody actually saying goodbye. And everybody being sad, sitting around there.
Well, at least they tried to show that a little bit, but still, it wasn't impactful to me personally.
Well, she was the only one that really got a farewell. That's
true.
Out of the three of them.
Well, before I get onto the big scene between father and son, right?
Yeah.
Because I've got a bit to say about that. I just wanted to quickly say, because remember Rey pretty much mortally wounded Kylo?
Yes.
In the saber fight, stabbed him.
Yes.
And then I feel like at this point in the movie, her Force Messiah healing powers was just a Mary Sue goddess bridge too far. That's what I've written. It just was too much.
Yeah.
Too much. It's just going to bring everyone back to life. But I guess, I wonder, were they not nuanced enough, but like were they thoughtful enough about the lore and mythology of Star Wars to try and make her healing abilities to be almost the inverse or the mirror image of Darth Plagueis, who was Palpatine's master, and he talks to Anakin about it in Revenge of the Sith, and he says to him that he became so honed and adept at the dark side of the Force and so manipulated it that he was able to create life and to prevent the ones he loved from, or the people he cared about, from dying. And remember, that's how Palpatine seduced Anakin to the dark side, convinced him that he can prevent the people he loves from dying, like Padme. So is this supposed to be the inverse of that, or am I giving him way too much credit for trying to create some kind of parallel mirror image, allegorical, I don't know, symbolism, fucking whatever?
That's interesting.
I don't know. Just occurred to me now, because I didn't have a note about that. I just thought of it now.
Oh, I like that.
Something to think about, but I don't believe they had that much foresight, to be honest. All right, moving along.
But it makes it easier to watch the film.
To stomach it a bit, I guess. Yeah. All right, I've written here, nice father-son redemption scene between Ben and Han Solo, but too little, too late, and it's a Band-Aid on a gaping wound that is, you know, the trilogy that they've done, and what they did to Han Solo's character. It's just trying to patch it up in a haphazard way. And I'm saying this should have been Han in person and alive to reconcile and turn his son back to the light. So Han should not have been killed in The Force Awakens. He should have still been around to, in person, redeem his son. And maybe he could have died in this film in a more heroic way than he did. But I did find it touching and heartwarming, their interaction with each other. So one few genuine moments in the film where I felt any kind of genuineness with the movie. And yeah, just because the scene was actually half decent, I felt it was a waste. It's just a waste of what could have been, because Han should have really been there instead of just being a figment of his imagination.
Okay.
Yeah. So how did you feel about that scene? Because I remember the first time we watched it, I looked over and there was like, some water was coming out of those eyes of yours.
I was definitely crying when that happened.
Yeah.
Mainly because in The Force Awakens, when that original scene happened, I was just bawling my eyes out. I knew that Han was going to be killed in that moment, but it still got me more because of Han's heartbreak than of him actually dying. Yeah,
Harrison Ford actually turned up and didn't phone it in for a change. He should gave it a go. But then again, he had, 10 minutes of work?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, just seeing that scene sort of recreated, but to go the way that it should have gone in the first place. I mean, that was just...
I guess you can put an A for effort when, you know, you rock up for an afternoon, do a bit of work, get paid $10 million, and go home before your coffee's cold. You know what I mean? Yeah, so, all right, next up I've got the destruction of Kajimi, the effects of that, when they blew up the planet. That looked really impressive.
Yeah,
the exploding of that planet, when you could just see the planet coming apart, the chunks from within, that was a great special effect. I'm going to call it as I see it, folks. If it looked good, it looked good. And that looked good. I feel sorry for the people on Kajimi and the mass genocide they experienced. But, yeah, and somehow Zori Bliss got away. She turns up at the end.
Yes.
How did she know to escape? Oh.
Well, she knew that she had to grab some buddies to go and fight.
Yeah.
In the war. Can I just make 2 points quickly before you go?
Of course you can. I'm not going nowhere, darling. We've got lots to say. We've got more to shit on.
Okay, so Chewie's cry was heartbreaking.
Chewie's cry?
Yes, when he found out that Leia was gone.
Oh, right, yeah.
And that's what I wanted to hear. Oh,
after Han died.
He did, actually.
Yeah, after Han died, he did, but there was no scene with him and Leia grieving with each other.
Yeah. Okay.
And actually, they had Poe having a bit of a heartfelt scene with Leia's body, where he was trying, you know.
Yeah, where he was looking for guidance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They tried to establish in this saga that he had respect and a relationship with Leia, but I never really felt it much. Yeah. But, yeah, they tried.
Okay, and my other note was we had that little Han, I love you, I know kind of scene.
Between who?
Between Kylo and...
Rey?
No, Kylo and Han. So
they had a romantic love scene between Kylo and Han.
Okay. So Kylo said...
Please explain.
He said, Dad. But then he didn't say the I love you part. And Han just said with a little smile, he's like, I know. I was like, hey.
I didn't catch that bit.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking of when Ben says, I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. And Han touched his face and said, you do, or something like that.
Yeah. And then I think he said that after that.
Okay, I missed that. But that's a nice touch, I guess, in a way, although a bit creepy because of what they're trying to mirror, the scene they're trying to mirror. I've got here something that you brought up at the start of our review. I've written that the giant Final Order fleet is of Star Destroyers, where there's like filling up the screen. There's like thousands of them. I was saying it's overpowered and over the top and ridiculous, but at least it was an attempt at a different, more original, big bad final threat than just another Death Star to blow up. But as with anything that they do in this new series, it's wasted and beaten way too hastily and way too easily at the end.
Yeah,
they just overcome it way too easily. A threat this large.
Yeah.
So
now we're up to Force Ghost time.
Oh yeah, me too. Wow. Yeah, go for it.
So the quote is, "A Jedi's weapon deserves more respect."
Yeah.
Now I feel like that was a message from Mark Hamill to Rian Johnson.
Yeah, not just Mark Hamill, J.J. Abrams too. Just because J.J. Abrams, as much as I, have been shitting on his Star Wars movies, he never ever would have written that scene of Luke tossing the saber over his shoulder. J.J. Abrams would not have put that in his movie.
I know that.
Yeah, so I'm saying this was J.J. and Luke and Mark Hamill.
Okay, yep.
Saying fuck you to Rian Johnson.
Yes.
Yeah. And I've written that. I said the Luke/Jake Force Ghost was lame. It had no emotion from me at all. It didn't evoke any emotion in me seeing Luke as a ghost.
Yeah.
And because the effect wasn't even that good anyway.
It looked terrible.
Yeah, it did. It looked
something
again
out of the 90s.
Fan trailer / cutscene from a video game. Yeah. I said, but at least he took a shit on The Last Jedi with that line. A Jedi's weapon deserves more respect when Leia was Rey was like mishandling the saber or whatever.
She was going to toss it.
That was an absolute direct fuck you to Rian Johnson. Absolutely. Clear as day. And I kind of respect JJ for doing that a little bit.
Yeah.
It not that it redeems the movie much, but yeah, I did enjoy it. I appreciated that. I did.
Okay.
And I've also said the Luke and Leia training scene.
Yes.
That flashback, the CGI. What? The CGI wasn't bad. Like, they made Luke look young again, but...
Luke looked good, but
Leia looked terrible. It didn't even look like Carrie Fisher.
Yes.
But young Mark Hamill looked real. But yeah, that whole training scene it looked like the Forest Moons of Endor or something like that. It looked like a dodgy video game cutscene or, again, a fan trailer. Like I've had to say over and over again, but unfortunately that's what a lot of the movie felt like. And it was another stupid retcon. Because we never saw Leia as a Jedi, and her as a Jedi just doesn't fit. It doesn't feel right to me. That's just me. Call me whatever. But I never saw Leia as a Jedi. I always more saw her as Force sensitive in the sense that she could sense people's emotions, feelings. Mm-hmm. She could sense people's pain. I never saw her as an offensive style Jedi or an offensive style Force user. I always just saw her as a intuitive, feelings-based Force user. And in this, they turned her into an offensive, actual fighting warrior Jedi. And that's just not Leia for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Leia is what I just said and Golden Bikini Girl. That's Leia for me. Nothing else. Sorry. Matriarch and Golden Bikini Girl.
I want to
not
know,
warrior.
What was the point of her getting a lightsaber just to give it up
Leia?
At the end of her training?
Leia or Rey?
Leia.
Oh, Leia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Just another thing that doesn't make sense. I've got here that raising the X-Wing was a nice touch.
Yes.
But, again, it's an entire movie too late.
Yes.
This is something that should have happened in the second film.
Yep.
And it should have been a living Luke doing it. Not a ghost Luke doing it.
Living Luke shouldn't have had some strange orgasm face.
Yeah, I never noticed that. I was too busy writing notes. But you're right.
Times he had...
There's so many people that are dead in this that should not be dead. Han should still be alive. Leia should, still be alive. There's not much they could do about that, unfortunately. But they should have had Han still alive and Luke still alive to reunite. They never got to reunite. We waited 30 years for them to never meet each other or even speak a word to each other. Fucking ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. What was the point of even bringing them back if they weren't going to interact? Yeah. And Rose Tico says hello again and goodbye. She just turns up and disappears.
She must have been pissed to go from being such a large character in The Last Jedi to just having 3 lines in this movie.
One, yeah.
And I feel like she was only kept in this movie because of the big role that she had in The Last Jedi. Like, she really didn't do anything this time around, which I'm quite fine with.
Me too. She's like a nothing character.
Yeah.
Did you have any other feelings about the X-Wing being raised? I mean, it looked good.
It did look
good to see, but that's it.
It should have happened towards the end of The Last Jedi.
Yeah, at this point it was just fan service, whereas if they did it in the last film, and that last film wasn't a steaming pile of shit, it wouldn't have just been fan service, it could have been central to the plot.
Yes.
Could have been a core part of the actual plot and made sense and been tied everything. It would have been great. It could have been great. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. All right.
This is why I feel like if JJ had the entire series, like the entire 3 movies, then we could have had a really good... Oh, I can see you cringing.
I would never say good.
It could have been good.
I still think it would have been bad, but it wouldn't have been as heinous. Because that is the perfect word to describe what happened with Episode 8.
Yeah.
Episode 7 was bad. Episode 8.
No.
Episode 7 was bad. Excuse me. Episode 9 was bad. Episode 8 was heinous. An atrocity.
Yes.
That's the difference between them. For me.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Alright.
Yep. I got Finn and Poe tried their best to save this movie with their humor and their intensity and their charisma, but unfortunately it was too tall an order and they didn't pull it off for me. They tried, but they couldn't. Yeah. They couldn't save the movie for me.
Well, it's funny.
But I appreciate the actors trying.
It's funny you should mention those two because I enjoyed Poe's speech. Do you remember the scene where they were all rushing off to get ready and head off to war?
To their mission, yeah.
Yes, for their mission. I really enjoyed having the speech. What's the word? Where it's playing.
Pep talk?
No, where it's playing in the background while you get to see everything that else is happening. So we're not just sitting there watching Poe speak. I've completely lost. Anyway, well, I enjoyed that.
You enjoyed that speech?
Yes, that scene. And the speech. I mean, I can't remember pretty much anything from the speech, but I remember both times that I heard, I'm like, oh, this is pretty good.
I only liked one bit from that scene, and I think it was a line that was delivered by the guy, I think his name's Dominic Monaghan, the guy who was in Lord of the Rings, played one of the hobbits. He had this tiny little cameo role as one of those people. And in that scene where they were getting ready to go to war and having the pep talk, and I saw this as another jab at The Last Jedi, so that's why I really enjoyed it. Yeah. And it was a jab at The Last Jedi and stupid Holdo, because someone mentioned the Holdo maneuver. Why don't we just do another Holdo maneuver? Someone says that. Why don't we do another Holdo maneuver? Yeah. And then someone was like, oh, no, it's too hard to repeat. It's a 1 in a million shot. I'm like, yeah, right. As if you wouldn't do that again over and over and over with missiles, kinetic missiles or something like that, and just launch them at warp speed. It'd be a perfect weapon to take out big ships. But of course they're not going to... So J.J. Abrams has tried to just dismiss the Holdo maneuver as a one-off that can never be done again, because it made so little sense for the rest of the series. Because if that is possible, everyone would have been doing that for ages. Yeah. So it was so out of place. So he's just sort of shrugged it off as a stupid move that can't be done again. I saw that as kind of a jab. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm reading too much into that. But for me, it was a jab in the right direction. Yeah.
Well, I've written a note here that we finally found Poe's chin strap on his helmet.
I never noticed.
It's on Rey's.
What was it? Oh, they're okay. Well, because she's flying. Brings me to my next point. She's flying in Luke Skywalker's X-wing.
Yes. And
I've just written here: Rey doesn't deserve Luke's X-wing or Anakin's lightsaber. Make your own, you damn thief girl. Well, because the path of a Jedi, part of the trials and tribulations of a Jedi is you don't become a master until you build. I'm pretty sure in the lore is you got to build your own lightsaber.
Yes.
From scratch.
Well, didn't she?
And she never did that. She just took someone else's.
Hang on, she ended up with an orange one, didn't she?
Right at the end.
Yeah, so she must have made it.
Did she build that one though?
Well,
I don't know.
Maybe,
but they're supposed to go to some planet where there's kyber crystals or whatever they are called. Find their own, mine their own, then construct the hilt and all this shit. It's supposed to be a whole thing.
Okay.
I don't know. You still got anything on that little jungle planet, or are you ready to move to the big aerial final battle that starts?
Go for it.
All right. So my next note is that the aerial battle at the end there, it looks impressive, but it lacks any tension or gravity because I'm not invested in the story or the characters at this late stage of the film and the trilogy. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like again, it looked great, but just flat and hollow.
Yep.
And more Tico and space horses is dumb in the final battle. Yes. Why would you bring horses to a space ship battle? Fucking space horses. That means they would have had to carry space hay with them to feed them. And they'd have lots of space horse shit all over the place in their spaceship.
Them all charging down their butt.
Yeah, it looked cool.
Why?
No, it would look cool to have ride horses in the International Space Station too, but they're not going to fucking do it, are they? It's kind of impractical, like afro hair on a warrior. Anyway,
Right.
all right. All the Sith in Palpatine and all the Jedis in Rey is just another stupid retcon.
Yeah.
I've said. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. It removes all the individuality from all those Jedis and all those Siths, and just turns them into some kind of, turns Rey and Palpatine into some kind of avatar characters. And the less the word avatar has to be used in any story, the better. You got any feelings on that?
No, but I do have just a quick point on how Finn is now brave.
Now brave? Well,
He's always been brave, but I mean, like,
and foolhardy.
He is the only person that has had character growth out of the three, the Poe, Rey, and Finn. He's the only one that's had any form of just growth. I mean, the other two are exactly the same as when they first began, except Rey's got superpowers, but she's always had them. She just didn't know that they existed. It's not like she's come.
You mean come like full circle? Like she had like 1 or 2 scenes of self-discovery in The Last Jedi, and that was it.
Yeah.
We didn't get to see her, go through trials and tribulations that much, really.
Yes, which is what we should have, because she was the main character.
Yeah, she was just clicking in the mirrors and then discovered she's the empress of the world. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, a quick little rant about Palpatine. I know I've done a few already, but I've just got to say here that all the Palpatine scenes are surreal to me. They just don't feel real because it so invalidates the first 6 movies that my brain just can't accept it. And I automatically rejects the whole notion of his character's presence in this movie. And it's why I can't accept this sequel trilogy as canon. Never can, and I never will. And it's just epically anticlimactic in the final battle, because they insinuate that Palpatine's cunning, sinister plan has been 9 movies and several decades in the works, but the guy's beaten so quick and so easy by 2 lightsabers crossed over each other. That's all Rey does, and he's a dead man. And it's just so disappointing and pointless to even bring him back, to take him out that way. Yeah.
I agree.
And what does this Palpatine retcon of bringing him back, what does that mean for Darth Plagueis, who was his master? How does he fit into this dumb narrative now? Because if Palpatine has this amazing power to do all this, did Plagueis have that amazing power too? Is Palpatine Plagueis? Is he even his own person? Is Palpatine just another iteration of Plagueis? I don't know. They don't explain it. It makes sense in the first 6 movies, but it doesn't make sense now when they bring Palpatine back without explaining the dynamic between him and Plagueis and how it's affected by him returning from the dead, supposedly. Yeah. So, I just can't accept that Palpatine's real. And it wrecks the whole thing. And also the Knights of Ren. They're built up for 3 whole movies. They're hardly seen at all. And then they're dispatched so quickly by Kylo Ren in like 10 seconds. It's just another anticlimax. And it seems like that's the trend nowadays, not just in Star Wars movies, but in a lot of movies. They're like building up your expectations and then just fucking them, just pissing them right off and giving you a downer of an ending. Yeah. And Kylo's redemption and sacrifice is just completely wasted. He has no epic battle or fight at the end. He takes out the Knights of Ren like a hot knife through butter, just real easy. And then he has no real showdown with Palpatine. Palpatine just smashes him straight away.
Yeah.
So his sacrifice is sort of a bit hollow. What do you think? Did you feel any kind of gravity about the finale at all?
No, I really didn't. It was very disappointing, and it felt fake and forced and just ridiculous.
Was there any tension for you at all? It was like none at the end.
No. There wasn't.
And it was just all over so quick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just like in 10 seconds from Rey confronting him. Oh, and then the massive good guy fleet turns up to save the day, and it was an impressive sight to see thousands of ships like that, right?
Oh, I got goosebumps when I saw
that. But see, for me, I just didn't care at this stage. This doesn't mean anything to me. Even with Lando coming back and all that. It's good to hear his voice, but I'm not invested. And Palpatine looks good and sinister in his final form, but my brain just won't accept him as real in this Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
And the Jedi ghost voices pep talking Rey. Remember, they all were coming back. Ben Kenobi and Luke and like.
I'm glad that that she could hear them, but she couldn't see them.
Yeah.
That, like, it would have just tipped me over the edge if we had that whole lineup of everybody there.
It just felt like such cheap fan fiction again.
Yeah, I know.
Like a fan trailer, like, and they're all just turning up to tell her how great she is. Of course they are. Fuck me dead. They're like 1,000 times better Jedis than she ever was. But no, she's the best, and they've all come to pay tribute and kneel before the altar of Rey. Ridiculous.
She is the best fighter they've ever had.
Oh yeah, with her magic cross lightsabers that make her instantly invincible. So lame and so dumb. I actually had to write those words. So lame and so dumb. Oh, and her horrible line. A horrible line before she kills Palpatine. And I am all the Jedi. Because he goes, all the Sith live in, I am all the Sith. And I am all the Jedi. It's just pure fucking cringe. The way she delivered it and the actual line itself.
Well, I have... Rey plays a good dead character.
Yes, just the character should have stayed that way.
She did really good, like,
I know.
And also going back...
I thought it was not much different from her performance in the rest of the trilogy.
Going back to earlier on, we were talking about how Finn had force sensitivities. When Rey died, Finn felt it, which was just lovely.
Oh yeah, poor Finn. He's just been cucked the entire trilogy, looking out for Rey, pining for her, wanting to save her, and she just gives zero shits about him. Oh, and then we had your obligatory Reylo love scene. Because they had to satiate those rabid fangirl maniacs, you know? Yes. But their love and romance just felt forced and phony baloney to me.
Yes, their kiss was one of the worst kisses I've ever seen.
Wasn't she like a corpse anyway? She was like a corpse when he did it. And I just got to quickly say, a stupid movie cliche that pisses me off, and it was in this movie. Why does the entire bad guy's lair or castle always automatically disintegrate when the bad guy dies? It's like he went and rigged it all for auto self-destruction. And it's in like heaps of movies that automatically... Bad guy dies and lair collapses. What the fuck? Oh, and then Ben Solo, he gives us one smile in the entire trilogy, and then he dies straight away. So he felt what happiness once, and then gone. Yep.
I want to know why she couldn't save him, and why he turned into a Force ghost straight away.
Yeah, and why didn't he appear at the end as a Force ghost? That would have at least been a little bit of a nice touch, like at least to try and connect things.
Yeah, she was closer to him than she was to Leia.
Luke and Leia, yeah.
Bloody hell.
Oh, my next note is just says, Chewie did fuck all. I forgot he was even in this movie. Because I think he just appeared after they had their... Kylo died, and then I was like, oh yeah, Chewie's in this. I forgot. He didn't do much. He didn't even have hardly any lines. And fucking fan service Ewoks for 2 seconds.
Yeah, I've got that too.
2 seconds.
Fan service.
2 seconds, literally. Oh, and amid all the celebrations on the jungle planet with the rebels, the resistance, sorry, you know, we had to see all our group hugging Finn, Poe, and Rey, and I'm watching it and I just feel nothing. I feel nothing at all.
Yeah.
No emotion, no triumph, nothing.
I agree.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and Zori Bliss. Zori Bliss shows up. Everyone's celebrating, and she's still got her bloody helmet off. So take it off. Take off that helmet, or fuck off. Like, leave. This party is a no helmet party, all right? Then Kerry Russell. Why'd she even agree to be in a movie where her face is never shown? Oh, and sorry, I also forgot BB-8 was even in this movie. Like he shot at the end there is BB-8. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. He didn't do much either.
He unscrewed something like a manhole on the one of the fleet at the end.
Oh yeah,
where they dropped bombs.
Well done, metal ball. Who Ray cares more about than anyone else.
Exactly.
All right, and I've got here. All right, Lando cracking onto girls 60 years younger than him equals nice.
For him.
Well, yeah, for
not
him.
For her.
For him. Hey, she gets to see the whole galaxy now with the coolest motherfucker in town.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be a party on Bespin. That's all I've got to say. All right, all right. Now we're right at the end. The last scene. It's back on Tatooine, I assume. I mean, it's not like there's other 5 million other desert planets in there. And we get a sandcrawler and Jawas. You know those little creatures that go Watiti. Those guys. My terrible attempt at it. But I've just written here, it's late fan service to pad and lessen the impact of the lame cringe fest ending that we get. So they've put the sandcrawler and the Jawas in just to make us not feel as horrible at the ending as we're about to try and soften the blow.
Yeah.
So we get a Luke and Leia Force ghosts that again looked really phony baloney.
Oh gosh. Yes.
And again, more like fan fiction and a bloody cutscene in a movie. I mean, Luke looked like Luke, but Leia did not look like Leia. Not as much. And it just, again, I felt nothing. It didn't feel warmth or anything. And what's with Rey's orange-yellow lightsaber? Like, what's that about? Unless, like you said, it's the one she made herself, maybe.
And maybe she picked that color because of the color of the setting sun on Tatooine.
Oh my god! Yeah, you're probably right. Unfortunately, you are probably right.
Oh, unless
what?
Oh no, that would.
No, what? What would it work?
It's like, oh, maybe it's got a bit of red for Kylo and...
Oh, what? To tribute to the evil that once resided in him.
Yes.
That I miss so much.
Yes,
Ugh.
exactly.
I don't put it past the writers to do anything that's stupid.
Yeah.
Alright, so at the end we get swelling music and the setting, Tatooine, twin suns, but they cannot save this movie or trilogy, especially with Rey's stinker of a line to end it all. I'm Rey Skywalker. And she delivers it as though she's auditioning for a fucking James Bond movie. James Bond. She's like, Rey Skywalker.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. And now at the end of the movie, I can just got to say, I wrote my final thoughts is that I felt flat, uninspired, disappointed, hollow, unimpressed, but slightly entertained at least for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I sum up this film as, or pretty much the entire saga, not the saga, sorry, the entire Disney trilogy as Disney Star Wars is not canon. Simple as that. All right, okay. That's how I sum it up, and my score has been downgraded to a 5. So it went from 6, and then in my short review, I think I downgraded to a 5.5, and now it's down to a 5, just because I've seen more of the flaws in the movie. And the visual effects can't save it, and Finn's enthusiasm also cannot save it. He still gets a point for his enthusiasm, but it's down to a 5. From a 6 to a 5. All right, okay. And that pretty much sums it up for me. Do you change your score? You were at 7.5 first time.
Wow,
Missy.
was I?
Yes, you were.
Whew.
7.5.
Okay.
You down?
Yes.
To what? Surely you don't hate it as much as me. Not hate, I don't know. Yeah, no, hate. Hate's a fair word. Most of this movie I hate.
I'm thinking somewhere between... I'm thinking somewhere between a 4 and a 5.5.
Oh, wow. Even lower than me.
Yes.
Potentially. Okay.
Yeah.
So just give it one right now.
Oh, well then I'll
Lock it in.
I'll just go with 5.
Lock it in, Ed. 5.
Because
okay.
that's in between.
So same as me.
Yeah.
So halfway. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
I I would like to see it one more time, not at the movies.
Oh, God.
I think maybe in about a year's time, I'd like to see it one more time and just see how my feelings are towards the movie.
Mm.
See
if it's changed or not.
Yes.
See if it's become a masterpiece in your eyes.
Well, or just if I could explain some of it a bit better.
Yeah. How would you feel if I said, let's watch it right now? She'd probably smash the device we're recording this on, wouldn't you?
Hey? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
All right, so we'll wrap it up there. It's a 5 from me. It's a 5 from you.
Yes.
Thanks for sticking with us as we slogged our way through this review of a very long and tedious film that bookends a very long and tedious saga, trilogy. I keep almost saying saga. First 6 movies is the saga. Disney Star Wars is not canon. Okay? Don't forget that, folks.
Okay.
All right, so we'll leave it there.
Yeah. If you're still here, hit that subscribe button.
Yes, please do. Hit that subscribe button with your multiple accounts, if you have them. And press like, press subscribe. I've already said that, yeah? Leave some comments, please. Feedback, positive, negative, agree, disagree, whatever. And
tell us what we missed.
Yeah, tell us what we missed or that we're crazy if we're crazy. And this was a masterpiece. Anyway, thanks again. Stay tuned. And remember, Disney Star Wars is not canon. Goodbye.